What is up everyone, welcome back to the Commanders Lair. It is of course Joey here. Today for another video I'll be sharing my Yuriko the Tiger Shadow deck. This is a really interesting deck, definitely one of the most unique I've done on my channel, or unique for me, not in the generic play space, because basically this is somewhat of a cEDH deck. I've never built a cEDH deck. I built a Yuriko deck once and it was too powerful and I took it apart. It was just, I was just kind of beating everyone. I didn't find it fun, and my playgroup kind of just banned Yuriko after that. You can still use it, but we just don't. And basically, this deck is somewhat cEDH. It's somewhat just powerful. It's basically on a budget. I feel like it's about as powerful as you're going to be able to get with the deck. Realistically, it's going to be winning turn 3 to 6, hopefully. Technically, I think turn 3 is as early as you'll be able to win. If you get really lucky, but most likely that's not going to happen. Hopefully by turn 4 to 6 is what you'd likely be able to do consistently. Yuriko is 1 blue and black for a 1/3 Legend of Human Ninja with Commander Ninjutsu for a blue and a black. So return an unblocked attacker you control to your hand and put this card into the battlefield from my hand or the command zone tapped and attacking. So basically it'll hit through, as long as we have something that is not being blocked and is hitting someone for damage, we can instead put Yuriko out. And then Yuriko has, whenever a ninja you control deals combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to that card's CMC. So technically that is burning our opponents, hitting at them. So what we could do is, flip off big cards, like Draco or something, hit them for 16 damage, but that's not what we're going to be doing. What we're going to be doing is focusing basically more on that card draw, because technically that card goes into our hand. So this is technically a farm deck, which is a deck that uses small creatures to fuel some kind of card draw, or I believe card draw kind of value generically, and to then kind of win through a combo. So we're going to be, moving really fast, playing lots of creatures really low on the curve. We have an average mana cost of 1.92. That is kind of way down a bit because there are some more expensive cards that technically shouldn't count because we're going to be casting them for that amount of mana. But yeah, that's still technically what the CMC is. And then, so we're going to basically be using all these cards, using all these things, using some ninjas and a bunch of unblockable creatures to get Yuriko out really quickly, to then keep drawing cards with her, and then use some other cards to draw even more cards shown through our deck to find those combo pieces and then win through that. So obviously we can get Yuriko out as early as turn 2, almost every single game in this deck. We're playing, I believe 17 1-drops that have some form of evasion, or changeling at least, so they can trigger off ninjas. So realistically, it's almost certain that by turn 2 we should have Yuriko out in the field. So though, that card's like Artificer's Assistant, when you cast like Historic Spell, it scries 1, it's a 1 mana 1/1 with flying, anything like that. Fairy Sid's another 1 mana 1/1 with flying, and when it enters you scry 2. So just, constant value like that. Gadul Lurker, it's a blue for a 1/1, and it can't be blocked. So just anything that's going to make sure that on turn 2 we're swinging with a creature that isn't being blocked, so we can get Yuriko out, and then as turn 2 we'll be drawing an extra card with Yuriko, hitting someone for damage, potentially even with some of the other ninjas we're playing in this deck, which are a few, even the changing coins like Universal Automaton, as early as turn 2 to 3 we'll be drawing, 3-4 cards of our commander, which would be really nice. And so this will basically speed us up, obviously, alongside any of the ramp we're playing. So we're going to play cash, anything that's cheap and really powerful we can get our hands on. So Blood Pet is 1 black for a 1/1, sacrifice it to add a black mana to your mana pool. So basically, what that's going to be useful for is getting out 1 mana early. So potentially we can bank this up. So cast this say turn 3 or something, and then turn 5 we'll be 1 mana up. Similar, basically just cards that are giving us more mana than we should be, as any ramp would. Dark Ritual's great. It's black mana to add 3 black mana to our mana pool, and as long as we can win when we cast this, we're not going to need the consistent ramp from saying a Charcoal Diamond or something. Dark Ritual will do it for us because we're going to win the turn we play it. Otherwise though, if we can't, we're going to be disrupting our opponents. So cards like Dismember, Dispel, anything that's like a cheap removal card that's just going to get us out, stop opponents from doing what they're doing, because obviously we are kind of lacking a bit in the whole kind of power department against decks of big prices. So Foil's another great one. It's a free counter spell if we discard an island. And then to basically, as I mentioned, Yuriko is going to be drawing us a whole heap of cards, right? And that's because that's what farm decks do. We're using all the small creatures, all 17 of them, hitting for damage constantly, drawing cards to Yuriko, trying to find that combo piece. But otherwise, we're playing at heaps and heaps of, kind of ways to sort them up our library. and cantrips. So, Sage of Epiter is a blue mana for a 1/1. When it ETBs, look at the top 4 cards of your library and put them back in any order. So technically this could also swing through for Yuriko, but otherwise it's going to, we can look at the top 4 cards and, maybe we can find one of our combo pieces and put it on the top. Or otherwise cards like Serum Vision, it's a blue mana for sorcery, draw a card and scry 2. So, we're getting more cards into our hand, we're setting the top of our library, we can get the cards that we don't want. Basically, just any kind of cards like these, any of these cantrips, hopefully scry us as well, maybe set the top of our library, just so we can basically churn through our deck as fast as possible, using those small creatures and all this draw, and stopping our opponents if they can, just to make sure that we can get our combo pieces as fast as possible. So now into the main way that we're going to be ending the game. Obviously, we've been talking about these combos. There's 2 cards we're going to be used to properly get these combos. The first one is Ad Nauseam. So it's 3 black for an instant. Reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its CMC, and you may repeat this process any number of times. So obviously, with that low CMC of 1.92, even lower generally, it's liable that we can basically absolutely churn through our deck. If we happen to get a land, we get it for free. With all these 1-mana creatures and all these 1-drop cantrips and everything, a lot of our deck is 1-drops. We have 34 1-drops. So let's say it's likely that we're approximately going to get 30-ish cards drawn off Ad Nauseam, and it doesn't matter how low we bring our life total, even if we're on 1 life, as long as we win the game, it doesn't matter. So that's going to, hopefully draw us into our combos quite easily. And then Peer into the Abyss is the other way, so it's 4 black, 4 black, so 7 mana total. Obviously very expensive, especially in cEDH, but we should immediately win, or maybe possibly the turn after. For a sorcery, target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library, and they lose half their life, round up each time. So we're going to pick ourselves, obviously losing 20 life doesn't matter, again, because we're going to win. We're going to draw, hopefully, 50 cards. And in those 50 cards, 100%, we are going to find both of our combo pieces, and we can win the game very, very easily as long as this casts out. Otherwise, though, this technically does also combo with Psychic Corrosion, which is 2 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of the library into their graveyard. So let's say at like a minimalistic approach, right? Let's say we draw 40 cards off our Peer into the Abyss. All our opponents will mill 80 cards, which is likely for them to lose the game, because obviously, the 80 cards is a majority of their deck. If they have anything less than 20 cards drawn, they're going to lose their game very, very quickly. So it's just, a powerful synergy piece with that. But now onto the main combos in our deck. It's really, really simple. We are going to be having a card that removes our library, and then we're going to have a card that wins from us having no cards in our library. So the cards that are going to get rid of our library are Leveler, Demonic Consultation, and Tainted Pact. And then we're going to have the cards that are going to win the game are Jace, Wielder of Mysteries, Laboratory Maniac, and Thassa's Oracle. So these are obviously a very, very well-known cEDH combos. They're the most expensive part of our deck. These, take up almost $50-ish of the whole deck list. And obviously you can't really substitute these for anything, because this is the only way we're going to be winning effectively. So I'm going to go over the most kind of popular combo, which is Thassa's Oracle and Demonic Consultation. So Demonic Consultation is 1 black mana, and it says name a card with the top 6 cards of your library from the game and reveal the next card to all players. If the card is named, put it into your hand. If not, remove that card from the game and continue revealing the top card from your library and removing it from the game until the named card appears. So basically, we're going to name a card that is in our deck, and it can be literally any card, as long as it's not one that's in our deck. We're going to reveal our entire library. Obviously, that card is not going to be in there. We're going to have 0 cards in our library, and then we're going to cast Thassa's Oracle, which is blue for a 1/3 Merfolk Wizard. When it ETBs, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your devotion to blue, which will be at the very minimum 2, but it doesn't really matter. It will, as long as it's literally anything, will win the game, because put up to 1 of them into your library and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is greater than or equal to the number of cards in your library, you win the game. So obviously, we're going to have 0 cards, so X literally needs to just be 1, because we just need to see that there's nothing there, and then win the game. So Thassa's Oracle will be an immediate win with Demonic Consultation, as any of these other ones will be, although they are going to be a bit slower, because they are going to have to wait until we draw cards, which we can't do. However, if you say combine that Leveler with the Laboratory Maniac, we'll have no library from the Leveler, and then Laboratory Maniac will say if we would draw a card where the library has no cards in it, you win the game instead. So let's just say, we cast one of those other cards, like Curate, that's a cantrip that's going to draw us a card. Then we will immediately win the game as well, and that is the other kind of combo that we're going to be running to win the game in this deck, and that is obviously going to be our game plan. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is the end of the video. This is obviously my first cEDH deck, as I mentioned. I don't really know what's going on. This isn't inherently cEDH, it's just very, very powerful. Obviously, it's pretty fast. It's definitely going to pack a punch. So if you feel your playgroup speeding up and you don't want to, buy all the new cards for it, you don't have the money to spend on it, or you just want to try out something cheap, see how it goes, maybe upgrade later, this is definitely the right deck. Only it's $98.54 at the time of recording for a very, very powerful deck that can definitely win really, really easily. And I also think it's quite fun, just having all those moving pieces. Farm decks are really, really interesting. Definitely my favorite kind of cEDH theme. And again, this, like, I've kind of gone through the general way that we win with it. It's going to be pretty simple. Make sure to, let me know in the comments what you guys think of this deck, what you think of me building cEDH decks. I'm not going to make it a common thing because it's just not my kind of game, but I figured I'd just try it once, just in case any of you guys are wondering what you should do if you want to get into cEDH but you can't afford it. It definitely is still possible. But otherwise, let me know your thoughts in the comment. Tell me what other deck you'd like me to make next, whether cEDH or anything else. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you'd like to see more. Obviously, a lot more what I'm doing is going to be casual content, not this. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.